Today's episode is brought to you by ProudWolves. It is ProudWolves' mission to build stronger local communities by using global systems. Our main focus is the integration of children in the local community to boost their sense of purpose and belonging and reduce mental health issues and suicide rates. We want to make sure that children all over the world have free access to cultural activities and sport. ProudWolves helps organizations to change their income models and stops them relying on membership fees for children. Find ProudWolves on Google for more information. Now, get ready for your All-NBA Team of the Week. Goeiedag, enchantée, and welcome to this week's episode of A24 Presents All-NBA Team of the Week. We are flying towards the finish line now. Round one of the playoffs is already over. In the end, we can't really say that we saw any surprises. All top four seeds in both conferences have progressed to the next round, and not a single series had to go to 7 games. As much as everyone likes to talk up the drama, at the end of the day, the strongest teams always win. Does that mean we can expect the Suns to play Miami in the finals? Not necessarily, but I wouldn't be surprised. What I do know is there are no handouts left, and the second round of the playoffs is proving to get really exciting. Good thing we're allowed a day off in between to catch our breath. On the show this week, we look back at some of the winners of round one and players that will need to step up in round two to get their team over the line. Get ready for your All-NBA Team of the Week. Before we move on, I'd like to talk to you about A24. A24 is created by ProudWolves with the intention to provide children with an opportunity to learn and play basketball at their own pace and completely free. We have created different courses which are available on the website to improve their basketball skills. But our real mission is to help disadvantaged children by building and upgrading basketball courts around the world and supply them with basketball gear to play with. Come and find our website and grab a t-shirt to support the course. Now, let's get back to the show.
Pick one!
Our first pick of the week is Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. It was a tough series, but the Grizzlies did it. They eliminated the Minnesota Timberwolves. It took 6 grueling games and was often a punishment to watch. But it was also often the most exciting series to watch in the first round. Ja absolutely killed Malik Beasley with a monster dunk in Game 5. We saw massive scoring runs, and the Timberwolves have blown lead upon lead upon lead. The Grizzlies won pretty much every one of their 4 games coming back from behind, except in Game 2, their first win of the series. A very disappointing ending for the Timberwolves, who had plenty of opportunities to swing this series in their favor. But a great start for this young team to lead, to learn from, and grow in the next few years. So, the Grizzlies progress to the next round and have to play the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors had very little trouble with the Nuggets, completing the gentleman's sweep, winning the series in 5 games. The Grizzlies and the Warriors have played 4 games during the regular season, and the Grizz are 3-1. Obviously, the Warriors struggled all year to get their starters on the floor together, so take that with a grain of salt. In their last game, on the 28th of March, Memphis blew Golden State out with 28 points, but no Steph, Clay, or Draymond on the roster that night. None of that matters now. This series is going to be tough and will likely last 6 or 7 games. But in order for it to do so, Ja needs to be the superstar he can be. In the series against the Wolves, he struggled a bit, but still managed to average 21 points a game, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds. His super strength is that he can blow past anyone and get to the rim, where he can literally jump over anyone. The biggest problem the Grizzlies will have with the Warriors is that they can't afford to fall behind as much as they did against the Timberwolves. The Warriors are defensively very strong and will not allow the Grizzlies to make a 20-zip run back into the game. Memphis will need to stay close to the Warriors all game long so they can take over at the end of the game. But are these young guns able to stay concentrated for a whole game? Time will tell. I predict that this will be the most exciting series of the second round, and no matter who comes out of it, both teams will be shattered at the end of it.
Pick two!
Our second pick of the week is James Harden of the Philadelphia 76ers. Harden had a terrible series against the Toronto Raptors, and yet, when it mattered in Game 6, he showed up. He finished that game with 22 points, but more importantly, with 15 assists. It was a very impressive game all around from Philly, with all starters finishing in double digits, and Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and obviously Harden finishing with a double-double. Especially considering the media circus around the league had already booked their hotel rooms in Philly for Game 7. A very imposing performance by Coach Doc Rivers and his guys, and took care of business, and they never looked like they were going to lose this game. But so far for the good news. The main reason we have picked Harden in our team this week is not because he played one good game. No, We picked him because in the next series against Miami, he needs to show up in at least 4 of those. Embiid left Game 6 injured. He has an orbital fracture and is out indefinitely. For those of you who don't know, your orbital socket is a set of bones that protect your eye. He had a similar injury a few years back that took him 3 weeks to come back from, with a mask. It's hard to say how long he's going to be out for, but I'm not expecting him back to suit up in the series against Miami. If Harden can pull this one out, Embiid might be back in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that brings us to the $260 million question. Can Harden pull it out for Philly? So far these playoffs, he has averaged 19 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds a game. And his shooting splits are okay. They're not fantastic, but it's not the numbers that are the problem for Harden. It's the eye test. He's not able to get past anyone on that Raptors team. Translate that to a Miami side that's even tougher defensively, and this could be a massive problem for the Sixers. Yes, the Heat have their own injury woes with Kyle Lowry out and Jimmy Butler has knee soreness, but Miami has guys on guys to throw at Harden. We're only talking about on-court stuff right now. Can Harden resist the temptation to go partying in Miami every night on the road? I see this as the make-or-break series for Philadelphia. If they make it through, anything is possible. But if they lose, they have a lot of work to do in the offseason.
Pick 3.
Our third pick of the week is Mikal Bridges of the Phoenix Suns. For a minute there, it looked like the Suns were going to struggle against the Pelicans. Devin Booker missed some games, Brandon Ingram turned into an offensive killing machine, Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado changed from simple rookies into accomplished role players, and Willie Green's coaching brain worked overtime. The Pelicans made a valiant effort in their first-round matchup, but the Suns were simply better. As you'd expect in a 1 versus 8 playoff battle. Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton found each other, Booker returned, maybe a bit early, but he's back anyway. And most of all, Mikal Bridges emerged as someone who's a lot more than just a 3-and-D role player. In his time in the league, Bridges has changed his game from when he was in college. On a roster with Jalen Brunson, Eric Pascal, and Dante DiVincenzo, he averaged over 17 points a game and led them to an NCAA championship in 2018. He was a go-to scorer, shooting at a very high clip, especially from deep. And when he was drafted by the Suns, scoring was not important because they have Booker. So he focused on improving his defense, and he basically turned himself into a potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate, coming second to Marcus Smart in this year's award. When the Sun missed Booker in crucial Game 5, Bridges stepped up and scored 31 points, including 4 from 4 from deep. Not only is Bridges happy to play the role the Suns need him to play, he's also always available. Bridges has never missed a game, not in the league, not in college. He's rarely injured and never tired. Bridges is exactly the player anyone would want on their team. And if the Suns manage to make it all the way, he will play a big part in that championship. The Suns are back at full strength, just in time to meet Luka Doncic and the Mavericks. They will count on Bridges to stop Luka and his old Villanova teammate Brunson. It won't be easy, and a good test for the Suns to see if they're ready for a run towards the championship.
Pick 4.
Our fourth pick of the week is Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. Even though the Bucks moved through Chicago quite easily, they could be in quite a bit of trouble in their second-round series against Boston. Chris Middleton is out with an MCL sprain and is likely to miss the whole series. Missing any players in a playoff campaign is difficult, but if that player is your number 2 on the roster, it takes the difficulty to a whole new level. Giannis, Shrew Holiday, Brook Lopez, and the rest will have to dig extra deep to make up for the big hole Middleton leaves on both offensive and defensive end of the court. But if there's one player capable of handling the extra pressure, physically and psychologically, it's Giannis. The Greek freak averaged more than 28 points and 13 rebounds a game in what you could now call a walkover. The Bulls looked like they could be a dangerous customer for the Bucks when they took Game 2, but Milwaukee had absolutely no problem finishing the series off in 5 games. Giannis is the most dominant player in the league right now. I don't see any other player out there that can compete with him physically. He's an absolute beast, and he will make life hard on Al Horford and anyone else tasked to guard him. The Celtics may be one of the best defensive teams in the league, but they'll struggle to contain Giannis. Maybe the Celtics don't have to worry about Giannis, because if they can stop everyone else, Giannis can just be Giannis. He's not going to make 100 points on his own. I have a strong feeling that this series will go down very similarly as the Celtic Nets in the first round. If these games can stay close, the Celtics are more likely to close it out at the end, because the best closer for Milwaukee is Middleton, and he won't be there. Imagine the Celtics sweeping the Bucks in round 2. Wouldn't that be something? It surely would spike up all those rumors from last season about Coach Bud getting fired. But the Bucks are a better team than the Nets, even without Middleton.
Pick 5.
Our fifth pick of the week is Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. The odds of winning the whole thing are in favor of the Warriors. They had a nice and fairly easy run in the opening series in the playoffs against Denver, wrapping the whole thing up in 5 games. Stephen Curry started the series on the bench, recovering from his foot injury and gradually played more and more minutes until he was allowed to start and play nearly 38 minutes in Game 5. He finished with 30 points, clinching the series for the Warriors. Curry is the main man for the Warriors. Without them, they are nothing. But they still need the guys around him for him to succeed. Over the last week, we heard a lot of different names for the new Warriors lineup. Not a big fan of naming lineups, especially ones that haven't really played that much time together. But it's no secret that Curry, Poole, Clay, Wiggins and Draymond are Steve Kerr's preferred starting five. Bring Kevon Looney off the bench if you need him, and add Otto Porter Jr., Iguodala, GP2 and Kuminga where needed. The Warriors have a great roster, and considering how deep they have fallen in the years without Clay, it's quite a surprise that they are back so soon. After watching the Nets fail against the Celtics, I'm a bit weary to stamp them as favourites to win the league so quickly. In my eyes, that's still the Suns. But I'm sure they'll work their way through the Grizzlies to the Western Conference Finals. It won't be a breeze though, like against the Nuggets. No, the Grizzlies are ready to fight this Warriors team with tooth and nail, literally. The Warriors will need to be on, from start to finish, and that's where they count on Draymond Green. Draymond is the engine of this team. He's the spark that sets it all on fire. He brings the intensity to the game, and his court vision is second to none. Even though he hit a couple of teammates in the head with passes in the last round. But a series against the Grizzlies can be dangerous for Draymond too, because they don't back down either. This could become a very verbal series, which usually ends in a suspension for a game or two for Draymond. He'll have to keep it together to lead the death lineup to the Western Conference Finals. This was our All-NBA team of the week. Please share the podcast and give us 5 stars. If you have any questions, contact us on a24office@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you next week. Ballers out.